video, I'm gonna go ahead and change over the tires to the 35-inch tires that I have sitting in the corner of my garage. I figured for this video, I'll be kind of doing, I'll be kind of knocking out two birds with one stone. I'll be putting 35s on this truck, and at the same time, I will get to go ahead and demonstrate to you guys how the new tire machine performs. So here's the tire machine, Mayflower, I think it's the 980 model. This is I think this is like the biggest / baddest model that Mayflower carries. Now I know some of you guys are giving me crap because it's like I'm mounting some 35-inch tires to a stock Ram 1500 wheel. I think the width on these wheels are what, 8 to like 8.5 inches. So they will bulge a little bit, but for the purpose of what we're going to be using the truck for, I don't mind that the tire is going to be bubbling out a little bit. And I've seen plenty of people mount 35-inch tires to the stock wheels. So let's go ahead and get to that.
Alright guys, so figured I'd give you guys a little point of view of how to change the tire. So here's our tire machine, and here is the tire. So I already went ahead and did one tire just to show you guys. Well, it was a little practice thing for me, and just to show you guys the comparison of how they look. This is the 35-inch tire, and this is the stock tire that usually comes on a 2014 Ram 1500. So the first thing we're going to do is with one of these valve stem remover tools, I'll go ahead and insert a link in the description below to all the tools that I am using today, by the way. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to open the cap, and then with our little removal tool here, we're going to go ahead and set it inside the nozzle and go ahead and just righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. I'm going to pop that open. Alright, we'll go ahead and wait for that one to... Alright guys, so once you have the little nozzle outside of the valve stem, and this thing is pretty much flat, we're going to go ahead to our bead breaker. Okay, first thing, our 3 steps right here. One on the right, that is our bead breaker. You press that, and that brings the bead breaker in towards the machine, and I'll show you guys how we use that. Middle step is to bring the jaws inside or outside, and then depending on the diameter of your wheel, you could either grab it from the outside or you can grab it from the inside. So let's say this is your wheel. It could either bring the jaws out and grab it like that, or it can grab it from the outside of the wheel. However, with this specific machine, we have something called a bead blaster, and what that is if you see right here, there's 2 dots on each jaw. Those actually emit, they push out a whole bunch of air when you press right here, and I'll show you guys how the bead blaster works. So to use the bead blaster, it's better, or I don't think you could use the bead blaster while it's grabbed on the outside. So you're going to use it while it's grabbing on the inside of the wheel. So imagine the jaws, they come out, right? They're grabbing the wheel, and then after you get the tire mounted on, the bead blaster's got the nozzle sitting behind the jaw, and once you press on that pedal, it's pushing in a whole bunch of air, and it's pushing in a whole bunch of air, and it's helping the tire compressor, or like the filler, like when you're filling up the tire, it helps helps bring the bead closer to the sidewall, or it helps bring the sidewall closer to the bead. That way it gets contact and it prevents air from escaping. But I'll show you guys how that works. So your third step over here to the left, that is your turntable direction. You press down, it goes clockwise. You push up, it goes counterclockwise. All right, so let's go ahead and get this the bead broken on this. So you can see this thing's covered in mud. This truck, the tire that this truck came off of was involved in a collision where it drove into like a ditch or something, and it's got a whole bunch of mud on it. So if the tire's been sitting on the wheel for a while, or it's, it had mud on it and it was flat at one point and then it was refilled, and that bead will probably be a tough sucker to get off. So it's probably attached to the wheel pretty good. So I'll show you guys how I get that off. So we'll go ahead and bring it over to the bead blaster. All right. And then this turntable, since it's a little bit larger, let's go ahead and spin it so it's out of the way of the bead blaster. Kind of. There we go. Now we have what's clear. All right. So to get the bead broken over here, because the other tires were giving me such a hard time, I'm gonna try to get it as close as possible to the wheel as without damaging the wheel. And then I'm gonna put my left foot on the pedal and then put my right hand here to kind of control it. And then we're gonna go ahead and press. There we go. And on the first try, it went ahead and broke the bead. So don't put your finger in here just like I'm doing. Sorry about that, guys. The compressor turned on. But yeah, don't go ahead and put your hand in here at all times. Try to make it a habit. Just like I'm doing, don't do that. You don't want this tire to, you know, take any of your fingers. I don't think it'll take any of your fingers, but it sure does hurt. So we're gonna go ahead and open this up. I like to do it a couple times around. So we'll bring this around. And then what you want to do is, obviously you want to avoid the valve stem, just because sometimes behind these valve stems sits a tire pressure sensor. So I think the bead's pretty much broken, but we'll go ahead and show you guys what it looks like. All right, that's good enough. Then you have to break the bead on both sides, guys. So we have the tires spun around. And go ahead and bring it again over there. There we go. Yeah, you can see how it's like sticking. It's almost like somebody put epoxy on here when they were installing these tires. That's interesting. There we go. That should be good enough. So now we're gonna go ahead and put the tire and wheel on the turntable. And then for the jaws to go in and out, all you gotta do is just give it one tap. So we'll go ahead and press on it. And then after we press on it, we're gonna go ahead and pick up the tire a little bit just to help guide the jaws into the right spot. So it's just a little bit, because they tend to get stuck on those nozzles for the bead blaster. All right, just make sure I'm recording. Okay. All right, so when we're here, we're gonna go ahead and grab our little soap solution. Usually you could buy tire lube for these specific applications, like auto stores or like Amazon or eBay or whatever. However, because I barely use this thing and I always keep forgetting to buy tire lube. This is just a quick solution. It's diluted dish soap, so it's like 1 to 2 pumps of dish soap and just the rest of its water, and it works for what I need. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and spread a generous amount around the rim, around the perimeter, just like that. Put that aside. We're gonna go ahead and grab our arm here with our duckbill. Push that down. Lock it in place. You want to make sure that this is locked in place so the arm doesn't come swinging this way. I'm not sure why, because it could swing that way freely. Maybe because you're sitting here and you don't want this thing to not go. But anyways, we've got it like that. You always want to make it a habit to get in and out of the, get the tire off and on with the TPMS sensor behind the duckbill. So let's go ahead and get the tire sensor over here, so you can kind of see where it's at. And that's because when you go to take this off, so just imagine the tire's off over here, and what it's doing is it's pulling the tire this way. Let's say the tire pressure sensor was over here. If you're pulling it that way and the tire's up here, sometimes you could actually break the tire sensor. I've actually broken a couple installing and uninstalling tires off of rims. So just make it a good habit, whether you have a TPMS sensor behind this valve stem, to take care of the valve stem initially. So we're gonna go ahead and leave that there. We're gonna go ahead and grab our little pry bar that is provided with the tire machine. You could use either ends, whatever you prefer. But we're gonna go ahead and use this hook down. I'm gonna hook it up against the tire. So I'm gonna go ahead and press that down a little bit. You can see it's stuck on the tire. And then with this tire, it's pretty easy to bring it over the duckbill. However, if you're having a hard time, let's say you have a tire with a smaller sidewall or a tire with a really tough sidewall, what you could do is you could press down on this side. And what that does is, if you see over here, or let's see, do we have a wheel? I'll show you guys anyways. But if you see over here on the wheel, this diameter that's closer to the fascia on both sides, this diameter right here is actually larger than the diameter down here. So if you bring the sidewall to this diameter, you actually have room for play. You can see you got about an inch and a half maybe. Yeah, about an inch of play. So if you bring the tire down this way, you're giving the tire machine some play. So I'll show you what that does. So we'll go ahead and bring this over here, hook it onto the tire, press down this way, and then voila! It makes things a little easier for you guys. So now that your duckbill tire looks like this, we're gonna go ahead and press on the turntable to turn it clockwise, and it should do it itself. Comes right off just like that. All right, so let's go ahead and make it a habit again to get the tire pressure sensor or valve stem right behind the duckbill. Okay, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and, you know, see that this tire is free. We're gonna go ahead and slide this pry bar back down. We're gonna get the other side, and what you want to do is you want to slide it down on the duckbill right here. You can see it. This is basically a guide for this pry bar, and then we've got it hooked on to the other side of the tire, or the other sidewall. And now you just slide up the tire, and the pry bar should slide up with it. Go, just so you guys can see what it looks like on this end. Let's see. All right, and then go ahead and just push it over or pull it over, and then again, just like that. And there you have it. Your tire is off now. Let it swing off. But you guys can see what I mean by this diameter is a little bit thicker than this diameter. So if you bring the sidewall of the tire down to this diameter, you have a little bit more, you have more room to play. All right. So you're gonna keep the tire on, or the wheel, I mean. Go ahead and move this out of the way. So while the wheel is sitting like that, you could take your clean off tool, or like Whizzy wheel, or in my case, I'm just going to use a couple shop rags. And then the wheel is already wet, but you could spray it a little bit. And what I like to do is sometimes, especially in this case, the tire, you know, wheel had a whole bunch of gunk and dirt on it. I'm just gonna go ahead and just like wipe it clean, just to make sure there's no debris that's gonna get in the way of the sidewall when it attaches to the wheel, because that'll cause a slow leak down the road. And those are annoying to fix. Well, it's really not that annoying. It's just a pain getting the tire and stuff off the truck and having to do it. But go ahead and clean the perimeter. All right, let's go ahead and grab our 35-inch tire, guys. So here we are with our 35-inch tire. First thing you want to do is check if it's directional. So if it's directional, it would have some kind of arrow on it saying, hey, tire's supposed to be turning a certain way. And then you would install it on the wheel based off of the way it would be spinning for the most part. And then one other thing I like to do is just check, kind of, because this is a used tire, I'm going to go ahead and check the tread. Sometimes one shoulder is heavier than the other side, and then you can mount it the way you want it on the tire, just depending on how your truck or car tends to wear down the tread. It shouldn't wear down like that. If it is wearing down too much, then you've got alignment or suspension problems, but this is just reference for this video. And then if it is a new tire, sometimes you will get a dot on the sidewall. It would usually be a yellow or red dot. I can't remember which one lines up with the TPMS sensor, and that's for the purpose of weight distribution, of how the tire was formed and all that. It's a weight distribution thing. I think I talk about it in my wheel balancing video when I was doing 35-inch tires, either for the wheel balancer or for my previous tire machine. But I don't want to quote myself right now just because I can't remember. So for this, we're gonna go ahead and grab our diluted soap solution. Go ahead and give it a couple pumps. And then I'm gonna go ahead and spray right here where it's going to be in contact with the rim, just so it slides on easier. Now this does make a difference, guys. Having the lube does make a difference. If you can get a hold of actual tire lube, they sell it pretty cheap on Amazon or like your local auto parts store. All right, so we'll go ahead and pop this on here. We'll leave it over to the side just so I can swing this back over. So right here, you want to make sure that you get the TPMS sensor in first. So we're gonna go ahead and put the sensor to about right there. Okay, make sure this is flush again. And then usually the first side is easier than getting the this side. So sometimes it's as simple as holding it up against the duckbill and just spinning it. Just like that. All right. Oh, and one other point, very good point, is you want to make sure that the diameter of the wheel will fit inside the inner diameter of the tire. So obviously you want to make sure this is a 20-inch rim, and you're going to look for the tire size on here. This goes on a 35 by 12.5 by 20. So the 20 stands for the diameter of the wheel, and we have a 20 and a 20. So let's go ahead and get the TPMS sensor to about right there. All right, guys, so we're gonna go ahead and do this sidewall now. What you wanna do is you wanna spray a generous amount of your lube or your soapy solution onto this, this edge or diameter or whatever. We're gonna go ahead and set our duckbill here. Let's put our pry bar back. We're gonna go ahead and set our duckbill up against the wheel. We wanna try to get it as close to this surface as possible. So just give yourself a little slack, push, pull the tire back a little bit. Make sure that your TPMS sensor is the first one that's gonna go in. So let's do this. Now, if you have two people helping you with this, that's probably easier. But in my scenario, I've only got one person. I guess in a way I wanna prove that this can be done with one person. All right, we're gonna go ahead and lock that in place. Oh, no, let's see. Just like that. So, okay, so I don't know if you guys can see that, but I've got that surface close to the wheel now. And then what we're gonna do, let's see. Set it like that. I'm going to grab our pry bar. But here, let me just go ahead and add some more soap since it kind of... Okay. So now we're gonna go ahead and grab our pry bar. Probably use the flat side, the smoother side. Gonna go ahead and set that like that. Just like that. You wanna hold it in a spot. Okay, and then we're gonna go ahead and spin it clockwise. Let's redo that. I don't think I had it down enough. There we go. Let's try that. So you want this to start securing underneath the rim. So, but don't spin all the way around. You just want to get to like right about, maybe right there, where it's about pretty tight. So now what we're gonna do is, let's leave that pry bar there. You're gonna go ahead and push down on it, and while that's pushed down, you're gonna grab your elbow and push down with your elbow. You want to get that tire, you want to get that sidewall into the lower diameter so you have some slack on this side. So let's go ahead and see. If you do that, you see, I don't know if you guys noticed on the camera, but it slid down into the lower diameter. So you see how it's holding on the lower diameter now? So that. And then we'll kind of do it like slowly. We'll go ahead and on the lower diameter. I always get nervous at this part, guys. Just like that, and it should pop right in, guys. All right, Now I know this looks pretty difficult. Well, at least to me. Well, if I was watching this, I'd be like, oh man, this guy's really struggling. But if you get the hang of it and you do this several times, it'll just become it'll become cake to you guys. And there's probably other techniques out there, and I'm probably not following them. This is what I was taught. This is what I know. So if you do have any recommendations as far as better techniques for getting this sidewall on, please feel free to comment below. I'm always looking for different ways or techniques to learn how to mount tires or any of my other videos. You get what I mean. All right, so now that it's mounted up, we'll go ahead and move this duck fill out of the way. Let's see. Sometimes just a little pry right here. Gets it stuck on, guys. Did I loosen this? Let's see. There we go. For some reason, this tends to stick sometimes. I don't know what it is. But anyways, let's go ahead and fill this tire up. Show you guys how the bead blaster works. Make sure we got some air in the compressor. Now the compressor might turn on while I'm doing this. However, I'm going to walk you guys through how I'm going to do this. So you're gonna grab your tire filling mechanism. Now if your tire machine doesn't have a bead blaster, then there's other ways to do it. There's the starting fluid method. That's a little dangerous, but it works. I've done it several times. But yeah, let me show you guys how the bead blaster works on this. Go ahead and hook that up to our valve stem. So on this model tire machine, that pedal has 2 levels to it. If you go down one, it activates just this by itself. If you go down to both of them, it activates both this tire filler mechanism and the bead blaster. So what the bead blaster is going to do is when you press it all the way down, it's going to be forcing some high capacity air or whatever into the tire or into the sidewall, as well as this is going to be filling. So it's like air coming from both sides of the wheel, and it helps seat the sidewall up against the rim. And it actually surprisingly works pretty well on this model. So let's go ahead and do that. It's probably going to be loud, so probably going to minimize the audio here. So let's go ahead and press it all the way down. All right. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and press on. I'm gonna go ahead and let go. Once you see the sidewall actually kind of climb up, then, so once you see the sidewall actually climb up, then that's how you know that you're pretty much good to go, and just only fill up the tire with just this. So you don't need the bead blaster anymore. We're just gonna go ahead and press on the first level of the pedal, and it should fill it up. Now this does take a while. I think there's a nozzle on the inside that will help. That I could probably loosen up more to get more capacity out of here. But you can see the bead is seated now, and you're gonna see that the sidewall of the tire is gonna start popping up. And be careful, your fingers don't put them underneath here. But you get the idea. I'm gonna go ahead and fill this up to 40 and then call it. Alright guys, so we're getting close to filling it up to 40 psi. So if you see in the gauge over here, that is at 40. I'm going to fill it up just slightly a little bit above, and then with our valve stem removal thing, or our the little nozzle that goes in the valve stem, we're going to go ahead and put this back into our tool. Hold it just like that with one hand, and then with your left hand you're going to go ahead and remove this. Put that one in there and spin it until it is nice and tight. And this tire combination is pretty much ready to go. We're gonna go ahead and give that pedal a blip. And now it's loose. Go ahead and pick up the tire. There we go. So one thing that I do want to point out is if you were grabbing the wheel on the outside, if you had the wheel on the inside of the jaws, Be careful, do not fill up the tire while it's on the turntable. You want to take the tire and wheel off of the turntable and then fill it up, or grab the wheel from the inside jaws rather than the outside jaws, because that could potentially damage your wheel tire combination or damage your turntable. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Alright guys, so that's how you guys use the eBay tire machine. Model number 980, I believe. And that's me using him to mount 35-inch tires, guys. So I went ahead and got all the tires mounted. There's actually a tire back there behind the toolbox. I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm gonna balance these tires. The balancer does balance these tires. I balanced 35-inch tires on here before and it does a perfect job. However, I'm not gonna balance these just because this is just going to be like an off-road slash, you know, shop truck rig type of thing for around my backyard or to take off-roading. So I don't really care about having balanced wheels and tires. I'm not going to be doing 80 or 100 miles on the highway. So yeah, that's that. I just wanted to show you guys a video of how to use this tire machine and to prove that it does mount 35-inch tires. Hopefully when I do get my hands on a set of low profile tires, maybe when we get tires and wheels for the Miata, maybe we can do another video of or a demonstration on how this tire machine does with the low pros. But I just wanted to, you know, I figured since I needed to mount the 35s onto the truck, figured why not make it into a demo video, because I did promise that I was going to make a video of me using this tire machine, or make several demonstration videos of me using the tire machine. Please feel free to comment below. I'm open to suggestions. This is all a learning process for me and for you probably if you're watching this video, so I do appreciate the support, and go ahead and like, share and subscribe to the channel so you can stay up to date with the shenanigans here at Backyard Pit Stop. As always, feel free to reach out, Backyard Pit Stop on Instagram, Facebook, and we'll see you guys in the next video.